Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today as we talk about education and eye health. My name is Dr. Timothy Brown, the treasurer for the National Optometric Foundation, and I'm excited to bring to you an outstanding webinar today, Protecting the Vision. Two awesome guest speakers going to be on sharing about education and eye health. What's the correlation? Is there a correlation? What do they see in the classroom as educators as well? And how they may be able to provide some tips to help you as a parent with your child. So tune in, get your favorite drink, get you some popcorn because we're going to have a great webinar session for you. But before we bring them onto the show, I just want to tell you a little bit about who we are as the National Optometric Foundation. Our current president, Dr. Andre Whitehead, is leading the pack there, and he's doing a fantastic job. And if you want to learn more about us, see some of the photos when we're out in the community working, you can go to our website, nationaloptometricfoundation.com. We are the financial arm for the National Optometric Association, and we support them in various ways. We try to support students who are currently in optometry school through scholarships. We try to also support students who are thinking about going into optometry school and becoming an optometrist. We also support the community. We help to provide free eye exams each year. When the NOA have their convention, we are out working together to serve the community, providing free eye care and free glasses as we are partnered with VSP, as they're providing the lenses in the frames, and they have the VSP lab. They're available to cut those lenses on site for people to see better the same day. We want to thank them for partnering with us. We want to thank all of the doctors and the students, the technicians and the opticians who come together each year to make this event a success. Serve where you go. And we're looking forward to doing it again in the city of brotherly love. That's right. The NOA convention is going to be in Philadelphia in July, and we're looking forward to doing Serve Where You Go and providing eye care to the community. The National Optometric Foundation also tried to educate communities on the three silent killers of your vision. That is diabetes, hypertensive retinopathy, and also glaucoma. We want to make sure that you know about these things so that you don't lose your vision. These things are preventable. These things can be managed and treated early on if they are diagnosed. So that's why we always tell people, and we try to encourage you to get your eyes checked. That's right. Don't delay. Do it today. Get your eyes examined by an optometrist. If you haven't had that done already this year, go ahead and schedule your appointment so that we'll see you and help take care of your eyes. You can also, if you would like to donate, we do have a Cash App, and you can donate to our Cash App, $ Protecting the Vision. And this webinar that we're doing tonight, as well as the previous webinars, they're going to be on our YouTube channel. So if you would like to go on our YouTube channel, we encourage you to follow it so that you can see some of the previous webinars that you can share with your family and friends, and you can watch as well their National Optometric Foundation on YouTube. And finally, we're on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, National Optometric Foundation, and you can follow us on Facebook page and stay connected with us. We ask that you go and like our Facebook page. We're going to always stay on there communicating and highlighting important optometrists that's doing great work in the community, as well as these webinars that we're doing on a monthly basis there. We appreciate you guys for tuning in, and want to encourage you to keep connecting to us each month. We do this on the third Monday at 7 p.m. All right. So I want to go ahead and bring on our guest speakers for today that's going to be with us as we talk about education and eye health. And our first guest speaker that I'd like to bring on or introduce to you guys and allow him to tell you a little bit about who he is, what he's doing in the community. Mr. Lawrence, if you would, Jason, just bring him on with us there. There we go. Mr. Lawrence Jones, it's great to have you on this webinar to share with our listening audience there. Can you just briefly tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and where you're located at?
Awesome. Thank you. It's good to be here. I'm Lawrence Jones. I am a retired United States Marine, served 20 years, combat veteran, relocated here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, here in Cumberland County school system. I've been an educator now in the public school system for about 3 years. Prior to that, I served about 12 years in the Marine Corps school systems during my active duty time, on my way to 20. Since then, I've attended HBCU, Go Broncos, here at Fayetteville State, pursuing my master's in secondary education, middle grades, with the concentration in English and language arts. Just happened to find myself to be a secret nerd of sorts, and I fell in love with the literature. So I am one who, at one point, had what I might call, or what we might call, a perfect vision. It was 2020, and then life happened, and I turned 45, and along with that came a need to invest in some corrective eyewear. And so I thought that this was a great opportunity to speak to that, as well as it kind of reminded me of some of my students in the past who, display some of the visual signs of, not having clear vision, some of the difficulties with the reading and the writing because of the untreated, eye vision and or deficiencies that were going on then. So thank you. Thank you for having me. Look forward to, adding to the conversation on tonight, and maybe being able to answer some questions from, kind of boots on the ground perspective, what we see here out here in Cumberland County, North Carolina schools.
Absolutely. Sounds like North Carolina got a great team leader over there. And we want to thank you for your service as well. Man, that's outstanding. Mr. Jones, thank you so much. And so glad that you have those glasses in front of your eyes, that you got the correction needed so that you could perform to your best ability. So thank you so much, sir. And someone's already giving you a shout out there as well there at Fayetteville. So good job. Dr. Whitehead is giving you a shout out there. So
thank
you guys keep up the great work. Bronco Pride. All right. So good. Glad to have you on. And we're going to also bring our next guest speaker on, Miss Nashonda Bender Cook. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for asking.
Good, good, good. I want you to, and I'm so glad that you also are sharing time with us this evening, providing a little bit of wisdom, some insight to our listening audience as we talk on and we speak on the topic education and eye health there. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to share, and we'll go through some things. But before we do, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, where you're from, and where you're located now.
Okay. Well, first, thank you very much for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you this evening. I am an educator in Wake County Public Schools. I will be finishing up my 25th year this year, and all of those years have been in special education in one capacity or another. I work with students who are not just visually impaired, but students who are on the spectrum, students who have learning disabilities, but also our Black and Brown students. And that includes students who are secondary English learners. So I've been teaching for 25 years in the public schools. I also serve as a consultant for special education for parents or guardians who need some support throughout the process of getting and keeping an IEP. So I'm able to do that. I am the mom of two beautiful young ladies. One is at this time a junior at NC State. The other is a junior in high school who is on the autism spectrum as well. So I kind of have the mom influence as well. I also recently went to the optometrist and was told that I need to have corrective lenses as well. I even questioned everything, said, okay, what are my options? What are my choices? And everything that I do, I take back to the classroom. So when I have a doctor's appointment of any kind, I go back and I tell my students about it, because I want them to understand that it's not just them, that we all have supports that we need, and they feel a little bit more comfortable with that. But when it comes to my visually impaired students, of course, I go deeper in. I work with our visually impaired specialist, and I learned what things that I need to do for them. And it's not just, getting large print. There are other things that can help students in classroom. And a lot of times the modification or accommodations that I use for those students come in handy for some other students. And I can speak with those parents and show them that, you're not the only one. So I love what I do. 25 years, maybe 25 more, God willing.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. When you are working in your gift and when you're passionate about what you're doing, it does not seem like work at all. And I'm thrilled that you are in the place that you're at. And thank you for 25 wonderful years being in the right place, because it takes special people dealing with other people's children. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir, I do. Yes, sir.
And you're doing this. You guys are doing this on a daily basis, week after week, month after month. It takes special people. You guys are listening to me out there. I'm talking to you, parents. It takes special people dealing with your children, because you may not be doing all that you need to do at home to make them be prepared for listening in class, so it takes special people, it takes patience, and I'm so glad that you both are in the right place. And I want to talk about more so, what do you see and what do you perceive to be some hindrance there when a child has poor vision? What do you see in the classroom when a child has poor vision there? Our youth, my wife and I at the office, we see a lot of children, like probably 65-70% of the patients are children, and they come in. Some are referred to us from schools. Some are referred by their pediatrician. Some come to us because they were at a vision screening and they were told they had astigmatism or they were nearsighted, or, hey, you really should go get checked. And we're thankful. We're thankful for the community for being out there, catching this early on, and then referring them to the office there, because we know there is a correlation, whether good or bad, between vision and learning. Their coordination, eye and hand coordination as well there too. But the impact of healthy vision on the academic performance among the youth in your environment, what are you seeing?
If I may jump right on that grenade first. So I am 8th grade English and language arts. And I fall within the larger group of people who are visual learners, right? And I always open up with my classes, like, how many of us learn best? Put your hands high in the sky. And the majority of my students have been visual learners. And the correlation here that I find is, because I'm also a visual learner, and the majority of my students in the classroom, typically no larger than 26 to 27, I do a lot of visual presentation. Anywhere from 80 to 90% of what I will present will have some form of text, as well as a graphic of sorts, but it becomes, well, it is necessary for students to have the ability to make sense, clear vision, from any vantage point in the room, whether they're up close, in the middle of the room. A lot of my students, I love them when they run to the back of the room first, right? Because that's the one I'm like, nah, I need you up here with me. So
right.
Right. But because of that correlation there, much of what we see will be presented in a visual factor when we have students. And I have one young man who recently transferred to me from another state in the middle, just before fourth quarter progress reports. And we were doing some independent work. And he's like, Mr. Jones, I can't see it.
Wow.
And at first I thought that what we might typically describe as work avoidance was just more just work avoidance. He's not wanting to settle down and focus. He's still kind of the new kid. But when he finally came over to me and he brought the entire text and he says, Mr. Jones, I can't see it, I was like, okay. It gave me a different perspective, and it also identified for me what was really driving the behavior that I had witnessed in the week prior, to having that, confessional of sorts. So I think it's very important that we identify it. Sometimes it's the simple, excuse me. Can you still see me? All right. Sometimes it's the simple visual indicators, the squinting, the uncomfortability to read. Not that they can't read, but now we're about to uncover that they can't see. And
Yes.
no one not wearing glasses wants to be the one to say from a distance, I can't see it.
Right.
That's very difficult for some of our 13 and 14-year-olds to admit in the classroom space. So we really do get to kind of hone in as a reading focus, as a writing focus, the ability to see what is presented either on the screen or what is right in front of us. Typically, normal pitch or font would be about a 12, But if teachers are
Right.
trying to save space, sometimes you got to put 2 pages on one side. And that thing drops down to about a 9. So, it becomes very important, very necessary, particularly for my content area, that my children have, corrective lenses if necessary, or at least an opportunity to identify what else might be there. You mentioned glaucoma earlier in the introduction.
Yeah.
I come from a family where that's present. And that's, you don't think about it when you're 13 and 14, but it could also be the thing, that's just kind of creeping in.
That's right. That's right. We never know. That's why we say don't delay, do it today. And I love the fact, listening to you, I pull from that student has a good relationship with you. I think that's very important as educators, just as it is with the doctors and the patient, that you build a good relationship, and I'm thankful that he had a relationship with you enough to admit, I can't see it. That's big. A lot of students allow embarrassment to get in the way of, just speaking up about their visual concerns there. And many times parents bring them into the office and they'll tell us, I think they just want glasses because, their friend has glasses and they keep saying they can't see it. And I think they just want to get glasses so that, they can be noticed more. And, and before they leave, we have to tell the parents, your child was telling the truth.
Yeah.
Your child can benefit from
Right.
some glasses,
Yeah.
not just for fashion reasons, but for them to be able to see clearly there as well, and then the parents were like, oh, I feel so bad. They've been telling me this, for so long, but I like the fact that we can catch this early on, versus them getting to the age of 24, 25, so thank you all for spotting these things when they have vision problems, noticing that, hey, they're in the back of the classroom when they should be somewhere in the front, to help them see a little bit better until they can go see an optometrist and get their eyes examined there. So very good. And you go right ahead if you want to add to that as well, Nashonda.
He pretty much covered all of it. What I think about is the iceberg theory. Is we see certain behaviors in the classroom and we don't know the underlying explanation of those behaviors. A lot of times, the first thing people who especially are not familiar with our community will say, "Oh, it must be the lifestyle at home, or they're hungry, or they're tired, or something." And sometimes it's something as simple as vision. Probably 20% of students in schools have some type of visual need, whether it be an ocular, where it's just the eyes, or it could be neurological, or it could be motor. What happens is once a student is identified with struggling academically, data is taken through observation and parental input, and a decision is made to try different interventions before even going the special education route. If those interventions after some time are not successful, then we go into more formal assessments, and any type of disability that is an adverse effect on a child's education qualifies them for an IEP. So visual impairment is a low incidence but a high impact issue. So it doesn't happen often, but it is such a big deal because it affects everything. It affects not just academic performance, it also affects functional performance. So a lot of the students that I work with, not only can they not read that 12-point print, they also have issues navigating around the school. I work with students in high schools who are preparing to go into the workforce. So they have to be able to see a menu, or they have to be able to read a manual. So what we're able to do is to work with parents and figure out what accommodations and what modifications are necessary for that student to be successful, not just in high school or in school. And I've worked with elementary, middle, and high school, but also to be a part of society. And the old way of thinking is, I have to prepare my child for the world, or no, I have to prepare the world for my child, whether it be a child on the spectrum or whatever. But what I like to do is I prepare my students, and they become my kids, to go out in the world, because those accommodations and those modifications aren't always going to be available. But once we're able to sit down and work with the parent and work as a team and decide, okay, what accommodations are necessary? Let's bring in a visual impairment specialist. Maybe we need Braille if the student is completely blind. Maybe we need just one of my favorite things I like to do in a classroom, and it doesn't matter what grade level I have what's called these color shields. So black and white print sometimes is difficult for students, where they might even have dyslexia and not just visual impairments. But the color makes such a big difference. When I'm writing on the board, I don't use that whiteboard and a black marker. I put one set of notes in one color, one set of notes in another color, and it keeps their attention, because a lot of times with that visual impairment, sometimes they are codependent on something else. It could be ADHD. It could be attention span. I think of one student, and he will tell me in a heartbeat, I can't just sit here for 30 minutes and listen. And I'm like, you're right, because I can't teach for 30 minutes either. So I got to get up. We got to do something. So I throw something in there that's color. And he does have to wear glasses. So when his mom told me that he's supposed to be wearing glasses, I said, if you wear yours, I'll wear mine.
Wow.
So he wears his, and I would like to meet these students who want glasses, because most of my kids are fighting glasses. Like, they don't want glasses at all. So I have to show them, look, I'm getting my glasses too. So go ahead, come on, join the club, be cute. Yeah. So that's how you build a relationship with them. You like, listen, we're not worried about what anybody else thinks. Look at us, we about to be successful. The people who are giving you a hard time may end up working for you, because you're getting ready to do your thing in school and be academic. So we don't even, that's how we address so many things at one time. We bring the family in, we make them feel comfortable and say, it's not your fault. We all miss things with our kids from time to time, but this is where we are now. What are we going to do forward as a team? What are we going to do to prepare your child, my student, to be successful academically, functionally, and then a part of society?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. Back on that transition from where you were discussing about, making the family or the parental unit feel comfortable. One thing we do really well here is the mass examination, or the mass testing. My understanding is it begins for Cumberland County at the elementary school level, to identify kids who do need to sit down with an optometrist. And that's about an annual situation. And when they're identified as not having any visual impairments or anything that's presented at that time, then that can move as much as 2 years. We'll see you again 2 years later from that date. And that usually lands in my backyard as a middle school teacher, somewhere 6th through 8th grade. Those opportunities are like those communities, those community connected aspects of being an educator, where a parent, the job is always hard. I'm a single dad. I raised my son in the military. He's just walked out the door. He's 24 years old, right? We got it right. He didn't die.
Good job, Dad. Good job.
I did it.
Yes, you did.
But I've met so many parents who I've seen multiple years, because they have a 6th grader and an 8th grader and then a 7th grader, and one coming in from elementary into 6th grade. And so when you're covering down on the basis, right, you try, as people say, trying to make the ends meet, sometimes we overlook something. And it can be so simple as, can my child see? And not that you're neglectful, it's just not the thing that's readily the problem, right, for our families. And so coming to school, and depending upon where you are seated, some students will make that determination, I need to be close. because of the vision, but it's not vocal. It's not made, it's not vocalized to the teacher. Like, I need this seat right here in the center. Because if you got me off center, I'm just looking at a white screen.
Right.
And so those programs like our schools do here, where we bring somebody out, the kids get a chance to just come on out to a kind of like a mobile lab of sorts, and get their eye exams and get their paperwork. The parents then now have the information and are armed with the tools necessary. They still have to kind of like just follow through, like book the appointment with the optometrist, and then, get the child what they need, whether it be corrective lens, maybe it's making you aware of a more, I'd say, insidious condition, like, the number of things that can happen with the eye. So I like that part of it. And we see it, I get to see it at least twice in the school year, where students are going out to a mobile facility to get those tests done. I think ideally you want to catch that. If you didn't catch it in elementary, that you do attack in, at the middle school level. You want that thing identified before we get to high school, where the rubber meets the road.
Absolutely. You sure do. You want to catch it early in the stages, making sure that, they see an optometrist, and the optometrist is going to do more than just search and see if they can benefit from glasses. They're going to check the health of their eyes as well. Some optometrists will offer to dilate. Some you might hear want to do photos, or they want to do a scan of the back of the eye, but some form of examining the back of the eye, the retina, to make sure it's healthy as well. We look at your family history. When they give you that registration sheet, it's not just for you to sign at the bottom. Parents, I'm talking to you. You let us know about that family history. So if there's a family history of glaucoma, we are giving special attention to certain things as far as the pressure when it comes to the eye and looking at their optic nerves. There are several things that go into play before there's a diagnosis or anything as far as glaucoma, but we should check those things on an annual basis there. And that's why we constantly stress, don't delay, do it today. And I'm so thankful that you guys do the mobile screenings. You refer patients to us. You catch the kids early on. That's been established. The quote of the day: low incidence but high impact, because we now know, we've already said it, all three of us, poor vision affects your academics performance. It affects your academic performance. So that's out the bag there, parents. So poor vision will affect how your child operates in school, how they're learning, how they're concentrating, and understanding what is being taught to them in school there as well. And so we've established that. And then you guys do the mobile clinics. But what happens when there's a barrier preventing that child from getting to the optometrist? What can we do about that? Do you see that happening? Do the children or the parents contact you when that happened? There's a barrier. What do we do when we have those barriers? Are there resources out there? How do you guys intervene? Let's just speak on that part there, those barriers.
LaShonda, would you like to respond to that first?
Sure. What I can say here in North Carolina is that is a barrier, just like lots of things in the Black and Brown community. Resources are not always readily available. The information is not given to our parents in a comfortable environment, in a welcome environment. So a lot of times parents don't know what to do after you give them the information you do. And then when you say, okay, you need to find a doctor to take them to, what doctor is going to see you and understand your plight and be respectful? And then what can your insurance cover? Because that's the big question right there. Right. So what we can do here in North Carolina is it's a phenomenal program. It's called the North Carolina Foundation for Public Schools Children. And they provide payment directly to the office. They provide payment for the eye exam. They provide payment to the the place who's going to make the glasses and the lenses, whether you need scratch resistant, you need progressive. They ask no questions. What's the price? Is it going to help the student be in the classroom and be more successful and functional? That's one thing that we're able to do in North Carolina. Also, we have our social workers who are in the school who can provide information, and that's at every school, who can provide information to the parents on what clinic you can go to, who will give you a sliding scale fee, things like that. So yeah, that's a big piece. It's providing not just the fact that your child needs glasses, but because we can't stop there. A lot of places do the exam and give the diagnosis and say, okay, your child needs corrective lenses. They might even do enhanced screenings, and then it stops. We need to continue to go further. We need to find the financial burden is, happens all the time in our households. Like Lawrence said, it's on the list. The income for our families, it's on the list. What can you do in the meantime? And while we're waiting, it's just going to get worse and worse. Behaviors are going to continue. Students are going to continue to fall behind. So we have to not just provide a diagnosis. We also have to provide resources to send our parents to and make sure that they're able to get what their students need. I see that there's a question about an IEP, and I'll just quickly say it's an individualized educational plan that a student receives through special education services. And if there's any more questions based on that, I can answer that. But I want to definitely extend the floor to you, sir.
Thank you. On how to manage that, if you don't have insurances, or if we are my particular school, as my principal would say, our client is someone who lives in our community, right? And sometimes that looks like various different things. Sometimes there's a single parent, sometimes there's low income, sometimes there's just disparity in access to resources, financially, health-wise, care, and all. One of the programs that does exist here in North Carolina too is the NC Vision program. And they specialize in dealing with a customer who might be underinsured, not insured, low income, so on and so forth. So there are resources available on this side of the Carolinas. No, South Carolina, I don't know what they're doing. We love you anyway, right?
Shots fired.
Go to Georgia. We got to get through you to go to Georgia. But you mentioned the social workers. That is such a valuable resource. I don't know that every parent knows how many available resources can come through the Office of Social Work. I think some people might just kind of have that negative connotation attached to it. Right. Social worker, they're trying to get in my business, trying to make things rough for me. No, it's in the school system, because teachers, while we juggle it all, I kind of think about education. One, it takes all. It takes all. It will take all of you to do it. It might take all from you to do it as well. Your time, your resources. There's probably not a single day where I'm not replaying, an incident or an interaction where I'm like, oh man, I could have did this, or I could have pointed him at this resource, or I could have said it differently. Like it's just there when you love it, and we love it. That's why we do it, right? Yes. But that's social work, man. They are my friends. I know all of my social workers. I have their cell phone numbers, and sometimes I'm introduced to children, as you mentioned earlier, who fall within ASD spectrum. And the needs may vary. And then I have students who have been exposed to things that might not, typically be an exposure, what I'm saying, for a 13 and 14-year-old. And when I run into those things, I'm like, I get to the back of my class because, we don't want to promote cell phone use in middle class time. But I get back there, I'm like, listen, I need you to stop by the room. It is such an awesome resource to have at your fingertips. So shout out to the school social workers or anybody out there. If you get to a school teacher, or you don't even need to look for the principal, find your school's social worker and just ask that question. What resources are available to me? If they can't just spit that thing out, give them a little while to do the research. they will
Right.
definitely get back to you and point you in, the right direction.
Right, that's good. That's good wisdom shared with our listening audience there. Knowing that resources are available, no need to be afraid. Don't allow your fear to keep you from reaching out and asking about those resources. They're available. You can hear our guest speakers talking about sometimes there are barriers that prevent you from being able to get your child to an optometrist. It's been established that they have some type of visual problem, and now we got to worry about transportation and the cost of an eye exam if you don't have insurance there. But there are resources available. Don't let your current status prevent you from getting help to your child. Ask your educators. There's a whole network of people trying to be supportive for your child, be supportive to you from you as the parent. First of all, the educators that's out there, the educators, and then also the doctors who are going to help take care of your child when it comes to their vision problems there. That's very important. So I just want to reiterate that because people are sometimes afraid to take that step and they need to take that leap of faith and reach out and ask because, as you've already said, the resources are there. And we know that when a child's vision is poor, there's a decrease on their concentration in school. There's a decrease on their ability to be able to focus on writing. There's a decrease on their ability to be able to focus on understanding what is being taught in school there, comprehending there. We see a decrease in their activity and wanting to participate in group assignments, participate in verbal opportunities that you have in class there, all because they don't have that clear vision. So anytime there may be some educators watching this now or later, anytime that you spot this, it's important for you to make that referral. Make sure we contact the parents. And one of the things that I tell my team when it comes to sales, because I do Avon as well, and everybody pretty much know that, but follow up. Follow up is the key. And many times we have to follow up and make sure that the parent made a connection with a doctor and made sure that their insurance was accepted at that office, and that didn't stop them from calling somewhere else trying to get their child in where the insurance is accepted. I don't know if you guys take them all the way when it comes to referring that child to an optometrist, but we want to make sure that there's no gap there. Pretty much you'll see if that child returns to class, a few weeks later with glasses, that would be one of the indicators that they got their eyes examined there. But as we're talking about that, I also wanted to know what strategies or initiatives have effectively allowed you guys to promote the importance of having an eye exam, regular eye exams with an optometrist within the school communities. Do y'all have something established there where they are effective in promoting this? Do you have an optometrist coming to the school to talk about eye exams or career day or anything like that?
So we just did our career day here at my school. We do. And so I was talking about that mobile facility that comes out and does our testing. But we also have a part of the athletic physical that happens. So I think we pretty much there is a portion where there is a eye specialist on site during that time where they're getting their physicals done to participate in sports throughout the school year. And I think that happens twice in the year where a student will have an opportunity to take an eye exam. And if there are any abnormalities or anything identified at that time, then paperwork is then generated to move forward to take care of that.
And I'm pretty sure your mobile clinic is similar to how we do the screenings and eye exams when we go to communities each year. As I mentioned in the beginning, we're going to be in Philadelphia doing free eye exams. So there's a mobile bus out in the parking lot. There are exam rooms on that mobile bus, and there's also a lab where they cut the lenses for patients as well. So some patients will be able to go in there and have their eye exams. Some patients will be in another building where we have doctors volunteering their time, students coming in volunteering their times to do some of the entrance testing for them when they come into that building after registration, of course, and taking a good history. History tells us a lot about the patients as well. But we have like rows of where we got doctors there doing the exam on patients as we're doing this serve where you go in the community each year with the NOA. So we are happy to hear that you guys have that mobile clinic there. And I hope that if there are schools who don't quite have that in place, that maybe they'll reach out and try to find how they can get that in place, because that'll allow you guys to catch a lot of the vision disorders that students are dealing with there, and it is affecting their academic performance there. So we'll continue to talk about education and eye health. Just want the listening audience to know this is part of Protecting the Vision, the National Optometric Foundation, and there are some great resources that we're learning from these educators that we have on here, Mr. Jones, and also Nashonda Bender-Cook. She's also letting us know, as they got on the screen there, there's a NCIs that you can go to find out about the program that he mentioned there. If you're low income, no insurance, your insurance is not paying that well, go to www.ncis.org to get those resources there. Another resource that we also have available when you go on there is ncfpsc.org. That's another resource there to help you help your child. You know, it's a whole network of people trying to be there so that your child can perform at their best when it comes to being in school and their academic performance there as well. So as we continue to dive into this, I just want to know, have any of you been involved or you know about any case studies showing where child got their eyes examined and they got glasses and their academic performance went up? Any correlation that you see where there's improved vision, improved their academic performance as well?
I know the last big case I can think of, it wasn't in North Carolina. It was in Florida. They did a huge study on it. And although it was focused on their state, they went through and they created this graphic picture of the United States and which states provided visual screenings at what age, whether it was pre-K only, whether it was school age only, they waited, or whether it was just whenever you asked, or there was some other type of visual services where it wasn't like pre-screening services. But I will say what their conclusion is what, you know, common sense is that visual screenings early intervention are the most effective ways to help your child. Like the earlier you see something, the earlier someone says something, the earlier you get support, the better for your student, especially if they're over 5 years old. Like 5 years old is like the age where let's see what it is that's going on. When my daughter was diagnosed with autism, she was about 4 or 5 years old. And it has made a huge difference. I see from the parents' point of view in my daughter's life, because although I have the master's and the national board certification, when it came to my baby, all of that went out the door. I just sat at the IEP table and I was like, okay, what we going to do to help my baby? And whatever it is, just tell me, I'm here. Let's do it. So it was like the sooner, the better. And being a part of the team, so many times our parents and our schools don't necessarily have that teamwork, collaboration feel, but it is so necessary. If everyone comes to the table and we know who it's about, everything else needs to be laid to the side. It shouldn't be, you shouldn't be mad at the teacher because last year they gave your other child a hard time. The teacher shouldn't be like, I'm mad at this child because they said this to me. Like, what are we here for? That's what we need to focus on. So early intervention, the better, the sooner, the better, really. And I will say, I don't need a case study to show me that. I've got kids right there in my face that I see every day. When they're reading and they have their glasses, they are focused, they're involved, they're engaged, they are confident. So I don't necessarily need a case study to do that, but I like some of the strategies we use. We don't have some of the things that Mr. Jones talked about, but I am going to take that to my school, to my SIT team. Like, why don't we have this? but like just modeling.
Sit team member.
So like just
that's
modeling for my
exactly.
students, me wearing glasses, me pointing out other people wearing glasses, me pointing out some of their favorite celebrities or whatever are wearing glasses, making sure there's visual representation of people wearing glasses that I can point out. So just the most immediate and direct strategies, and the earlier you provide these strategies, I think are going to make the difference for students. Because sometimes it is just you and that student. Sometimes it's you and a parent. Sometimes it's you and another teacher and that student. But whoever is on a team and wants to make sure this student has all the chances to receive their education, the sooner the better. The sooner the better. The most direct is my professional and personal opinion on what works.
Yes, your real life situation. I'm gonna get to you, Mr. Jones. Your real life situations in the classroom is evidence there. And then you had that perspective as a parent, and your child was facing some challenges, and you see it for yourself there too. That put you in an even better position for understanding when another parent is going through those challenges as well.
Yes,
and being there to assist them. I like that. I just want to highlight
my secret weapon is telling parents I've been there. I understand what you're going through. I understand your hesitation. I understand what it's dealing like with someone who is not on the same page as you. I've been there. So yeah.
You don't have to just tell them the fire is hot. You can say, I've been through the fire. I know it's hot. I've been there.
Yes.
This is what you need to do.
I got burn marks. I got evidence.
That's right. Yes. Look at my hands. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of like attach a statement to something Nasandra said about the look of it, right? And you mentioned earlier about somebody who wants to wear glasses and those who don't. There is a social emotional component to wearing corrective lens, right? You know, glasses look a lot different now than when we were children. Right? I'm from the 70s. When someone got bifocals, oh my God. It's like, can you see the stars and the planets?
Yes.
You know,
Coke bottle, 4 eyes.
The glass was deep, like the bottom of the old glass Coke bottle.
Right.
So now you have some of the cooler guy stuff, right?
Thank God for technology. Thank God for advancements.
Yes.
Technology is a friend, but that piece must also be considered or discussed if parents are considering that, you know, allow for some input from your young people with regards to, you know, what they will wear on their faces. It's just like the old braces, you know, that kids are kids. And even though to us, that's my baby, and oh, baby, you look so cute. It's just like the same praise we give when they mess up the speech. Ain't nobody gonna tell them they messed it all up. You're gonna still clap and everything at the back. But when I have to put them on, especially when our children reach the age of wanting or have gained the attention of members of the opposite sex, you know, how they feel and how they look, that corrective lens is really going to make a difference. And when you mentioned the confidence, I can always tell when my students are prepared because the responses are spoken with confidence.
Yes.
If you haven't done the reading and I ask a question and you the one I want.
Right.
Just look away from me like, please don't ask me. That's who I want to ask. Right. And so when we consider eyewear, especially when it comes down to specific, you know, unique lenses or very specific, you know, prescription, and one in the left eye, one in the right, that is something to be considered because kids can be kids.
Yes.
You know? Right. So you want to be able to put them things on and be like, right. Now, like I'm over here popping, you know, and I'm reading. Like,
And then just to take it, Mr. Jones, to another level, we are fitting more children now with contacts. They're coming in, getting fitted with contacts. So that's another option. If you did have a thick prescription, you could get fitted with contacts, and that makes it even better for you to walk around seeing clearly and not having to worry about the glasses in front of your face there. But as you mentioned, because of technology, they've been able to trim those lenses down, polish them up, depend on the frame. You can pick a stylish frame now. Even in our office, we got children frames that look like cat eyes, and have all the little glitter and stuff on it. They love that. That's part of their personality, and it helps them accept the fact that I need glasses and it's cool, and that's what we're always looking to do. We get the bright pink and purples and the blues and the reds, and they like that. This is cool. I look cool, So always just let the parents know that as well, that that's part of what we do on our side, is trying to help them transition into glasses if needed, as smoothly as possible there as well. Absolutely. So, yeah. And I just want to hit some of the comments here, because you guys are just hitting some great points there. Jason, it says, great job to all of us there, from Lori. She's also saying, when we do this thing together, we pull together, we can get it done, and we can help the kids. That's coming from Lori. Lori, thank you so much for that, because she said we're losing our children too early, their concentration, their participation, and it could be a vision problem there. So thank you guys for what you're doing to help us catch that. And Kelly used to be my neighbor when I lived down near Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. He said, thank you guys for your advice and the words that you are giving to the audience tonight there. So you guys, you're making an impact on the people who are listening now, and the people who are going to listen in the future there as they catch this on our YouTube channel, National Optometric Foundation. So this will be on there. You can share it with some of the parents as well, if you would like to, over in North Carolina, where I hear they feel they do the best care on that side of the Carolinas there. So we're going to leave that there. You see how I came back and hit that, right?
Yes. Listen, but can't nobody touch South Carolina peaches. I will drive to South Carolina to get some peaches. I'm not even going to lie about that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, indeed. And I like the fact, I want to piggyback and also say, when children have poor vision, or when they get that poor vision corrected, we do see the increase in their confidence level there. So what my wife would do, she'll follow up with them in 6 months to see how they're doing. And it's a big difference in how they walk in the door with their glasses on after 6 months. They are feeling it. They know that they can see better. We hear from the parents saying, hey, they don't want to have their glasses off too long, because the child realizes I can see better. What got me one time was a baby came in, and she was only about 2 or 3, and the grandmother brought her in to pick up her glasses, and she was like, well, my daughter brought her in for an exam, but I want to know, how do you know when a child is able to see better at that age when they got their glasses on? And I say, watch. We put the glasses on the child, and the child ran towards the window and was like looking, because she could see everything out there now so much better. She could see the cars, she could see the colors better out there. And the grandmother she was speechless. She was speechless. Yeah, that action showed her that her grandchild was seeing a lot better because of how she was looking out of that window. She went to that window when we put her glasses on. So that's great that was done. We also see a decrease of children being labeled as ADD or ADHD when they get their vision corrected as well. We see children are decreasing their stress. We see them increase their satisfaction with going to school. And we also see an increase in their grades. That's right. Their grades go up when we get their eyes right. One of the things that we do at Insight Family Eye Care is vision therapy. So when their eyes are not working together as a team, one eye maybe be hanging out in, one eye may be hanging out, and the other eye is doing all the work. We do several weeks of vision therapy to get their eyes working back on track as a team there as well. So we also know that when vision therapy is used, students are confident more, and they're sometimes able to ride their bikes on their own without their parents being available to assist them from doing those weeks of courses in vision therapy as well there too. And we also noticed that there is a less avoidance of doing the classwork and less need of discipline in the class there as well when they get their vision corrected there. So thank you guys for hitting upon all of those things. And as we get close to the end, there's a question that I have for each of you. And if you can both respond or not, but as educators, what role do you believe schools should play in advocating for and facilitating regular eye exams for students? And how can this be integrated in the existing curriculum or programs that you have there?
Well, for me here in Cumberland County, and I wanted to say, I believe we're all doing the same thing. This is a county that does really well with uniformity. But I've been at the same school since I've started almost 3-4 years ago now. So we are, the assist of our parents. And I know some people get a little protective of their children when they depart, but the reality is that child will spend as much time with me as they will with mom and dad. So we step in, we fill in wherever the gaps are, whatever behaviors show up in my classroom. As Nashonda pointed out, we might just be seeing the iceberg effect. I get the tip, but oh, it's this thing, and then you start peeling back or going deeper, and it's like all these other issues going on. So we're always, not gonna say battling, but we're always addressing.
Right.
Some of the things that are just not above the surface, but that go deeper. A part of that is dealing with whatever medical things that might need to be addressed. And so since we're specifically talking about optometry, then that visual piece, I'm inclined now to just put everybody in glasses just because, we do see the increase in some, in those areas. If it meant that I have to say, let's stop it, like, one of my favorite words is focus, like, I need you to focus. What? But if that's what we get, if we get the correlation and we can follow it, we can data track it to the success of the students, then we win by simply addressing this issue, which can be done as early as 2 years old, as you stated, and get them what they need here, right? So most of what they will take in will come in through a visual stimulus, whether it be instructions on paper or on screen. I think that's necessary. So the schools, we play that, if you will, that support backing, for our parents. What might not be visible at home, some of the visual signs for eye issues might get overlooked. You might not pay attention that your child is sitting quite a bit closer to the television.
Exactly.
Because you've always seen it, so it doesn't seem like a problem to you. But when I see it on a 60-inch screen, in my class, and your child has issues with, seeing that, then it registers differently with me, and some of those, like the vision loss or the constant rubbing of the eyes, the headaches,
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Constantly complaining about headaches. We see that, during our day times here as educators. And so we simply serve to help. We can be the help, the reinforcer, as well as a first line of defense, if you will, for identifying these things that might go under detected, at home.
Right. Good points. Good points there. That's some of the things that I wanted to touch upon. Parents play a role looking out for those things, like you mentioned, they're rubbing their eyes, itchy eyes, sitting close to the TV, holding things close to their face. All of those are signs that your child needs an eye exam. Your child may benefit from visual correction there. So we want to make sure, parents, that you notice the signs and then address the concerns there as well. Want to make sure that your child get their eyes examined. You don't delay getting them to an optometrist so that they can be their best in the classroom. You've heard from our educators that it's important that poor vision is detected early so that they can get the help that they need and be able to perform to their best ability to keep those grades going. You know, we need them in the workforce. We need them. They are our future leaders. And the more support that we can give them, the better the outcome will be for them. We've seen some great outcomes, and suggestions on my end is that you guys just get those regular eye exams. Don't neglect getting your child eyes checked. Whether you think they need it or not, get it checked. Many times children come to see my wife and the parents don't think their child need anything, even though mom wears glasses, dad wears glasses, but my child is good. No, I'm so sorry. We have a different story to tell you there. So a lot of parents find out when they come that their child can benefit from glasses as well there too. So we want to make sure that you get them in the office, get them with an optometrist that's comfortable seeing children so that we can get the care that they need for their eyes there. Any words that you would like to have, Nashonda or Mr. Jones, if you want to go back and have any closing words, you can as we're wrapping up this edition of Education and Eye Health.
I guess my parting words will just be, we do everything possible to make sure our children, that they're healthy. We make sure that, you know, they don't have they're hungry, they have clothes, you know, we support them in every way possible. Vision is one of those ways. So let's make sure that we stay on top of what they need. Not just, you know, their books supplies, their school supplies at the beginning of the year. Let's put eye exam at the beginning of school year too. Let's just make that part of the list. And I think that is very important. And I think the question earlier, I couldn't have answered it any better than Lawrence, but make sure that that is part of what you provide. And if the teacher says, hey, I'm noticing something, you know, don't disregard it. It's not because we don't like your child. It's because we've been trained to recognize these signs and we see them, and we want to be a part of the village that helps take care of your child. So I say, just make that vision be. I remember when my 5-year-old, when she went and got her vision, and of course she didn't know her letters by then, but she knew, I remember the screen was shapes and different objects, and she had to be able to identify those. So it's all a part of making sure your child has the best experience possible.
Yeah. Absolutely. Go ahead, Mr. Jones. Parting words.
Well, one, thank you for having me. I appreciate that. It is very important that, at least to me, that parents see us as the help, you know, in the room, not the help, but a help. On the windows.
Yeah.
But it's necessary. And we're not just there for the, you know, the reporting of the grades, but the whole child is addressed, particularly when they leave home, they get on the buses and they arrive at the school. They're ours, you know, they're ours for that time. You trust us with them, at least we think you do. So allow us, you know, to continue to help and to aid in those spaces that need that, you know, we say in English, scaffolding, that support, whether it be just, hey, Mr. Jones, you know, my son, daughter has an appointment coming up at blah, blah, blah date for this, you know, can you cover down on those assignments? You know, they'll be out for a day or two. Absolutely. Right. Because we love nothing more than a child or a parent who is proactive.
That's right.
You know,
right.
Like, yeah. So I got you on the exemption, or I'm going to give you 2 or 3 additional days because somebody cared enough to think about, you know, the effects of missing that time, you know. And so if we can just come together on that piece, I think we're good, you know. So, you know, we're here to help.
Guys, I'm telling you, this has been a very great discussion tonight there. And I think one of the comments says, this has been a very profound and thought-provoking discussion. Thank you all. How that came through from Dr. Whitehead, the president of the NOF, right there for you guys. So we do appreciate you for sharing that. I wish that you two were included as my cool professors as I was coming through school there. But, you know, you guys got a great sense of humor. You have a great personality. I feel a warmth just from talking with you tonight. And I appreciate you guys for your service. Thank you so much for all that you pour in to the students there, because it makes a difference. You're making an impact. And I hope that you guys know that. I hope that you feel that. And I just want to share that with you today. Let's see what we got. One more here from Dr. Orso. Thank you, educators and the NOF. Great work. And the NOA, appreciate everyone there. So that's from Dr. Orso. Great man there, also working in the community. And he loves to play golf. Absolutely. Loves to play golf. So thank you guys for sharing tonight. We hope that, you know, maybe in the future we'll have a different topic. And you guys can chime in, or maybe you have a topic that you say, hey, I don't think a lot of people know about this, and I would like to come back and present this. We'll be glad to have you as well on the webinar for that as well. Okay.
Would love to.
Yes, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Parents, talk to your educators, because your educators are the ones there that's going to be in the classroom with your child, and they can spot some of the challenges that your children may be going through and get them the care that they need, or refer them for the care that they need. Talk to your doctors when you go for your eye exam, and make sure that you're having that great doctor to patient relationship. They're asking questions when it comes to your child's vision problems there. My name is Dr. Timothy Brown. I'm the treasurer for the National Optometric Foundation, and it has been my pleasure to bring you another webinar. Awesome speakers. My goodness, boy, they did deliver some great information and share some wisdom with us today. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence Jones, and also Ms. Nashanda. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with our listening audience there. And if you guys would like to see some of the webinars we've done in the past, including this webinar, it's on our YouTube channel, National Optometric Foundation. We have those on our channel for you to share with your family, friends, your church, your organization. Also, you can connect with us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page that we ask that you go and like our Facebook page, National Optometric Foundation. And we also have a website www.nationaloptometricfoundation.com. You can go out there and see pictures of the officers, the board for the NOF, and also some of the great things that we've been doing in the community, and to learn more about us. And if you want to contribute, which will allow us to continue to do the great things that we do when we're supporting our young minds, those who are going to optometry school, thinking about going to optometry school to become an optometrist, you can Cash App us tonight. $5, $10, $20 will help put towards a scholarship there for those young minds. $ Protecting the Vision. It has been a pleasure. The National Optometric Foundation is a nonprofit organization, and we support the National Optometric Association in various ways there. So we thank our partners. We thank those who have donated. We thank those who come out and participate and volunteer their time to help us continue to be a leader in the community as we talk about vision problems, vision and learning, and also the 3 silent killers of your vision: hypertensive retinopathy, diabetic retinopathy, and glaucoma. Guys, go get your eyes checked. Don't delay. Do it today, and make sure you see an optometrist. I'll see you on our next webinar next month. The third Monday, we'll be on again at 7 p.m. with another awesome speaker for you. Thank you for tuning in. Protecting the Vision.